Deborah, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm better now. I'm talking to you.
Good.
I'm a huge Hitchcock fan.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I love his movies. And I feel the Diplomat is kind of Hitchcockian. And it's because this character is outside his normal environment.
Yeah.
And then she has to adapt to many things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you come with something like that, creation-wise, and not just putting her in that position, but also create relationships around her?
I think the key is to kind of start with a situation that she comes into a world and her first experience is that she's in an unfamiliar world. But at a certain point, she makes an observation that is something is weird here, something strange is happening, something unusual is happening even for this place. And I think the kind of going through the process of questioning yourself, that's what I think of when I think of Hitchcock, that you are watching a character make a discovery and question their own perception over and over and over and over again until they learn that there is, in fact, is something rotten in the state of Denmark.
And you doubt on yourself because she was, at first she didn't believe in herself, and people around her believe in her. And then she has to adapt and start creating something that then lead to many other situations. But why involving her also romantically and people around her? Because we have people also that can deal with politics, but also they cannot deal with the relationship because they can deal with politics.
Yeah. I don't know anybody who successfully deals with a relationship every day, but when I started interviewing people who work in the Foreign Service from this country, from other countries, there are a lot of what are called tandem couples. There are people who, you know, you're working overseas, you're far away from home, you fall in love, it's passionate, it's intense, it's really great, you believe in the same things, you're working toward the same goals. And that's a great way to start a relationship, but you're then in a situation where two people have to navigate two career paths that are often going to different sides of the world, and it just seemed like such a great way to deal with the question of what is an ally, and who do we consider a friend, who do we consider an enemy, and is an enemy somebody who's on the other side of a negotiating table, is it somebody who's on the other side of the pillow, and whether you call that person your greatest enemy or your closest friend and soulmate, like, changes second to second.
Stories like The Diplomat change the perception and the definition of what is an enemy.
Yeah.
An enemy can be an ally because we have a goal, we want to achieve something.
Yeah.
And when you're writing, because I know you wrote you create part of Homeland and you've been writing about the subject, and you mentioned one of my favorite movies is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
And when you fit with something like that, how do you create something original from that?
First of all, I think these are stories that will, you know, at their root will engage us over and over and over again, and you plunk some new characters in a new place, and it's going to feel like a new story, whether or not it has kind of the DNA of stories that used to exist here with 1,000 Faces. But I think you just got to go in and find a world that seems interesting and compelling, but then really follow, honestly, the character's experience through it. And we'll talk to people, we'll talk to ambassadors or politicians, whatever, and we're asking them about their lives, about their work, and they usually think we want to hear kind of like, what are the big issues that are dealing with? The kind of stuff that helps us build a story is like, what time do you have breakfast? Where do you have breakfast? What happens immediately after breakfast? And we're not talking about the big meeting. We're talking about, like, how do you get to the office? Those are the things that build a relatable story.
For me, it's interesting because if I describe the show to someone, it will sound so serious. Mm-hmm. But it feels light, it feels comedy, it has a moment of drama. Like season two start like in the third act.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's tense.
Yeah.
But then there's a moment for relaxing and then go back to the action.
Yeah.
You create that while you're shooting or while you're writing?
Oh, no. Those are so carefully constructed and so hard to pull off, but they are my favorite thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm a person who is inappropriately laughing in a funeral and like dropping my phone loudly in some very quiet location. We were in the UK when Queen Elizabeth died, and there was like a massive viewing moment, event, opportunity of the funeral ceremony in Hyde Park. I just called her funeral a viewing party. I'm like, okay, this is big. But so
and it's on camera.
We're sitting, watching this event unfold, and there's a nationwide moment of silence.
Yeah.
And the whole country is silent. And my phone alarm goes off. But loud. And I had Life on Mars, the David Bowie song, as my alarm at that point. So like screaming out across Queen Elizabeth's funeral is, "It's a god-awful small affair." It was such a nightmare. So those are the moments that feel most real to me, and that I think people can relate to and connect to, and immediately humanizes what can seem like a kind of a larger than life world.
I agree. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations. I love the show.
Thank you. Thank you.